So guys, we are looking at the Blue Anchor pub. The exterior has actually been brought to... Sorry, there's people passing by. I'm just trying to do this from the car so you guys can hear me. So the exterior has actually been brought from London. So this pub used to be in London, and there's a lot of stories surrounded by this pub. One of them is actually there are two victims that met Jack the Ripper, you know, the famous serial killer, but the ghost of other woman seems to linger around, and she traveled the whole Atlantic up to here in Delray Beach with the exterior of pub. So it's kind of weird. And she apparently appears here every night at 10, which was the time of her murder. So I'm gonna go inside, I'm gonna get some food, and we're gonna see how is it inside, and let's see if we can find her. Hi guys, hello from the haunted pub, Blue Anchor. Let's dig into the story, but I'm gonna eat first. So the facade of this pub was brought all the way from London, and this pub is quite historical. There's many ghosts walking around, and two of the Jack the Ripper's victims were last seen alive here. There are 44 both, and they spent their last night of alive drinking at this pub. They said that Jack the Ripper, he met most of his victims in London pubs, and this was one of them. But it's not actually those two victims that are known as the ghost of the Blue Anchor pub. The most known ghost here is called Bertha. She was actually cheating on her husband, who was a sailor, and she was hanging out at this very pub, Blue Anchor, in London. And they say that she traveled all the way from London with the facade of the pub, and she came here in Delray Beach, Florida. So poor Bertha, her husband found out, and he stabbed her in this very pub in London. So they say that around 10 p.m., which is the time that she was murdered, she's heard walking around, even though there's no second floor. They hear the footsteps and people like walking down the stairs, so it's pretty interesting. Built in mid-1800s, on the site of a 17th century inn, the outside of our pub was shipped across from England, where it has provided a warm and cheery welcome to London's rich, famous and infamous for almost 150 years at the old Blue Anchor pub in the city's historic Chancery Lane. This ancient street has been home to many famous residents over the centuries. One of them, Cardinal Thomas Wolsey, was Henry VIII's first minister and was instrumental in breaking Britain away from the Catholic Church of Rome. Every morning, he would emerge from his house at 8 o'clock and ride a crimson caparisoned mule to Westminster, the seat of government, escorted by his 2 cross-bearers and 4 footmen. In his hand, he always carried half an orange filled with vinegar, which he would hold to his nose to ward off the stench of the streets. Isaac Walton, author of The Complete Angler, also lived on Chancery Lane, as did William Pickering, who in 1824 became the first publisher in the world to use cloth to bind books. When the pub was constructed by the William Younger Brewery, hence the name William Younger above the door, Charles Darwin was still on the high seas collecting evidence of evolution, Florence Nightingale was a practicing nurse, and Queen Victoria had just been named Empress of India. The very same doors you enter today were well known to Winston Churchill. As a young Fleet Street journalist and member of Parliament in the early 1900s, he often dropped by the Old Blue Anchor for a pint. Being in the heart of the Low Court district, the pub was also a regular watering hole for High Court judges and journalists. Like the atmosphere, the food at the Blue Anchor is very British, right down to the beloved mushy peas. I personally had fish and chips and peas, and they were actually very delicious, so I can totally recommend it. This concludes our today's ghost story from Delray Beach and sunny Florida. I have a lot of stories in preparation, so make sure to subscribe and check out my channel. I have a new video coming for you every Wednesday. Love you. Ciao, ciao.